All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to stream. It's time. Welcome back, everybody. I hope you're doing good. How has your days been? How is the energy? How's the vibe? I hope you're all doing well. The roasting comments, yeah. We're starting up. How's everybody doing? How's your days been? I'm gonna make it worse. I hope you're all doing fine because it's gonna bit. I'm feeling kind of mean today, so let's see if we can make some tears happen. Let's go. I'm kidding. But as the title says, and as you all know and as you all expect as well, today is the roast stream. So, which we are bringing back the singular streams where I can be mean for a sec. Where I can be mean for a total of 2 hours. And rip into some artwork that have been submitted. Before we begin, just letting you all know, the pieces have already been submitted. There was a submission form for y'all to put your work in. Okay. And that is what we will be doing today. Neapolitan, I know exactly who you are. I can't. Back to me for a second. I can't be mean to you. You're too nice. Regardless. Yes. We are going to be doing this today. So that means I'm going to try and get through the other things that I have to say before we get started first, as fast as I possibly can. Because our mission at Wing Canvas is to make art education easily accessible to everyone. So join us for free live stream lessons every week, because we're not just a YouTube channel, we are an online school of illustration helping art nerds turn their passion into income. So if you're an art nerd, be sure to join the Discord where you can find our notes and artwork from streams, as well as art challenges and other resources to help you improve our art. Improve your art. Your art. I also want to personally thank our incredible Patreon and YouTube members for supporting our mission. YouTube members can chat with our instructors and see video drafts before they are released. Patreon members can level up their artwork with classes, Q&A, and live critiques, and personal support like draw-overs from instructors. Cool and epic. Getting that out of the way as fast as I possibly can. Alright? Okay. Starting off first, before we get into any of the artworks, I'm incredibly disappointed in all of you. We once again received things that I couldn't access and couldn't open. In fact, one of you had decided that you submitted and then moved the folder into your trash bin, so I couldn't even take a look at it, even if I wanted to. So, just letting you all know that I'm disappointed. There are instructions there. Learn to read. Thank you. One of you also decided that you wanted to submit the PC link to your files instead of, a drive folder, because you didn't upload anything in there, and then it looked like a virus was going to show up on my computer, so I'm not going to click on that either, just letting you know. And then some of you decided that you didn't know how to upload photos to Drive, didn't know how to put them in a folder, so you created Google Docs and copy-pasted the image in there. Now, you realize that I can't take that. You realize that I'm not able to download that. I'm not able to, so then I would have to take a crunchy screenshot. Yeah? So I can't give you feedback if that's what you're gonna do. Okay? So, learn to read. Learn to look at diagrams. Learn to take instructions. Thank you. And if the instructions on, the actual form don't make sense, Google Drive, it's used worldwide. Okay, look up instructions how to use it. Not that hard. There are help buttons everywhere on Google. It's so easy. It is so easy. I don't get it. All right, let's get into the actual artwork now. Okay. All right. Okay. The first one that we've got, we're starting off with these ones. This one is by Maple. Her Instagram or Tumblr is Maple Leaves Art. Maple Leaves Art, all right, on Instagram or Tumblr. Thank you for submitting, just as a right off the bat. You should just say, what's Google Drive? Sorry. Anyway. Alright. I was looking at this one, and I looked at both of the submissions for this one. It was really hard to pick between both of them, because I could roast both of them for different reasons. And then I was feeling nice that day, so I didn't pick the other one, because the other one would feel more like a personal attack than this one would. So I picked this one because I really enjoy that you decided to put plastic bags for wings on top of the dragon going on here. I also think that it's funny that you kind of have it. It really is like a plastic bag, because it's like, it kind of feels like it's all like this right here. I don't know what's happening here. We'll do my favorite thing, which is zooming in, and we can take a look at what's going on. What's happening here? I love this, like, it really feels like this, I don't know what movie it is, but it's like, you know the one where it's, I think it might be Spy Kids, where it's like a woman and like she has like her skin stretched out like this because she like got like a crazy moisturizer, and it's like, you know, it's between like a frame, you know? Like, I'm feeling that. Like, that's kind of what the vibe is right now, you know? And then all these little, like, folds here. Again, plastic bag. It's giving we're going to get groceries, and I have to, and I want to use reusable bags because I'm a good person. Regardless, this isn't how wings work. Let me tell you how they work. When we are working with wings, okay? Guess what? You're working with a wyvern. Wyverns, it's a bat. It's just a bat. I don't know how many times I have to, sorry, I have to put my pen down. I don't know how many times okay. I have taught this so many times. I'm like, maybe it's just not common knowledge. I don't know. But I'm gonna say this once, okay? When you're drawing wings, and it's like a thing, if you have a creature where the wings have replaced the arms, you know that anatomy doesn't change, right? It's still an arm. It's still an arm. It's always gonna be an arm. If you have a wyvern, you're like, oh, it's got wings for arms. Guess what? They're still arms, bestie. It ends in a hand here. And these are fingers. That's what it is. That's how a bat works too. And then we've got our, you know what? I could at least applaud you for putting this all the way down to here. Bats, technically they go all the way down the tail, but whatever, right? We've got this, and then it goes in between here, right? So if we have this like freak and we've got them like, you know, their arms are on the ground, how are you gonna walk on the ground with super long fingers? You curl them in. So they do that magic instead. And then you gotta figure out the folds in between with that, right? It's all arms. They're arms, it's the exact same amount of joints. This, right here, this what's going on here, right? I love it. This is the exact same thing that people who don't know how to draw clothing folds do, where they're just like, I don't actually know how these flaps work, so I'm just gonna add as many freaking folds as I possibly can, because more detail means better. Am I right, guys? That's wrong. If you said yes, I hate you. I'm kidding, I don't. But I'm telling you, it looks like a plastic, it looks like a trash bag. Okay, it looks like a bridal veil that you've put over top of a coat rack. Okay, all this, you don't need it. You don't need it. Okay, we look at a bat. You can Google a bat, right? You can Google a bat. Look at the skin between the fingers. Okay, we're gonna let's play a game. Let's play a game. All right, let's play a game together. Let's find a good reference here. Let's go with this one. This isn't AI, right? I'd be so pissed if it was. No, I don't think so. They just cut off the water. Oh, actually. I hate that I have to question it, bro. Okay, this is from a wildlife, like, preservation and conservation place. This has to be real. Okay, let's play a game. Let's play a game together, okay? We're gonna take a look at these wings. You see the texture of these wings, right? All these funny little U's that are going on here. Let's take a look at these wings. How many of those do you see in the wings? I'm not gonna let you answer. It's 0. Uh-huh. Yes. Guess what? The answer's 0. So guess what? We don't put that on here either. Eh? Yeah, exactly. You know what, the beauty of drawing things that are fantasy-esque, right, is that all fantasy, the best fantasy, is rooted in some kind of reality, okay? If you are like, oh, it's like, well, it's a wyvern, there's no references that I can use for a wyvern. There are! Guess what? There 1000% are, because guess what? Bats exist. The best designers, the best artists are going to not just, you know, go like, I gotta make it up off the top of my head. Anatomical studies are not just for humans. Anatomical studies are for everything. So it's like, if you're like, oh, I don't know how these wings work, guess what? There are wings in the world that use that exact same anatomy. You can Google it. You can Google it. I love getting the question. It's like, Jessie, can you do like a tutorial on this really specific thing? You can Google it. It's not hard. It's not hard. It's so not hard. It's so... How do you think I learned it? Just because I went to university, went to college, you think I know how to draw every little thing because they taught me? No, I learned. I figured it out. Gosh, I did. And look at that. Instantly, by me removing all this unnecessary patterning, adding in fingers in here, right? Putting back in the boning that was supposed to be here in the first place, yeah? So it doesn't look so much like we're, I don't know, we're just, like we're trapped in the pillow fort of despair, right? Look at, like, check that out. Less is more. Alright? Look at how much nicer that silhouette is too. Zoom out. Look at how much cleaner that looks. Because of course, again, between the, what do you call it? Between the fingers of the wings, right? These are membranes. That thing is going to be nice. It's going to be so thin. Okay? So that's not going to be like a perfect, like, it's also not going to be like that same blue all the way down, probably, right? It's a membrane. It's see-through. We're going to have a bit of that different color texture going on, right? That looks so much nicer. Was that so hard? Hi, Kevin. Thank you for the $2. Was that so hard? Really wasn't. Alright. Let me just do my favorite thing as well. Let's see here. Yeah, I mean, that's fine. There's like this... Oops, didn't mean to do that. Here's the problem with this too, right? I've zoomed out. How many of these scales can I see realistically, right? It's like I can see the snout ones. I didn't even realize there were ones on the shoulders immediately, right? Too much detail means there's no detail at all. You spend all this time doing all these tiny little things. People are going to look at this in this direction for 5 seconds and they're not even going to notice them. Yeah? You're spending time doing things that don't have to happen, okay? So if you're zoomed in like this and you're like doing all these tiny little details, you're wasting time. I will say I like the shines on these horns. That's pretty cool. But... This didn't have to happen. None of this had to happen. I love it. I love it when I see, like, painters that are like, what is them? I gotta zoom in and add as many of these tiny little details. No! You don't! You don't! You're wasting time! You're wasting time! Perfectionism is a poison! You're poisoning yourself. You're making everything harder for yourself. I promise. I promise it's not that hard. I promise. I'm crying for you. I'm crying for everybody who believes that they have to zoom in and do every tiny little thing ever. Oh my god. Okay. But we'll call it for that one. Thank you so much, Maple Leaves Art. Applause to this individual. Everybody give claps to this individual. Thank you for participating. Thank you for letting me get really upset at your work. Thank you for letting me take a jab at your work. Everybody give applause. Thank you for your bravery. Thank you for allowing yourself to be open to this. One of my D&D campaigns, we have a dragon that looks just like this, so I'm a little biased. But yes, applause for Maple. Applause for her. Thank you for submitting. Let's keep going. All right, don't want the steam to die down too much. All right, we got this one from Cooler Cat. Cooler Cat, she submitted this one, says that it's her first time rendering something out. You think that's gonna make me go easier on you? I love it. I love it when people submit and they're like, it's my first time doing this thing, like I've never done it before. I don't care. I don't care. You're not safe from my vitriol. You never will be. If you think that that'll make me like you more, you're wrong, and it actually made me more upset. Okay? Because I think that wishing for a lighter sentence is arrogance. Alright. Now, if you all take a quick look in chat, if you take a quick look in there, you'll see somebody named Kevin Coyle, our lovely mod. He's the one who decided that we should put something on this submission form that says, what was it? It was, where do you feel you are in your creative journey? So you can thank him for giving me one more thing that I can judge you about. Alright? Because some of you have some really intense hubris. I will say that there is only one person who decided to put themselves at a 10. On the scale of 1 to 10, they decided to put themselves at a 10, okay? They're not on this stream because I agree with them. And they're the only person on there that I think deserves that 10, okay? So, you're not here, and I agree with you, so you know who you are, because only one person decided to submit with that. However, there were a bunch of 8s. There were a bunch of 8s and a bunch of 7s, and you're looking at one of them. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that nuts? Hang on. Where are you? This is Cooler Cat. There you are. Yeah, I found you. What did you put yourself at, right? It was a 7 or an 8. Something like that. It was an 8! It was an 8. Hubris. Arrogance. Hilarious. Okay. Here. Oh my god. Okay. I love it. Okay. 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 Where do I even start, bro? Where? Put yourself at an 8. Oh my god. Alright. It was me, chat. It was not you. Oh, okay. Where do I even start with this? Where do I even... Sometimes I have plans, sometimes I don't, and then it's like, I come into it, and I'm like, yeah, it's like, I can definitely do this, and then it's like, I'm lost at where to begin, because I'm just like, I'm staring at this, and I'm like, right, so like, okay, sometimes it'll be like, I get a piece, and I'm like, okay, it's like, I cannot just say, do it again. I'm not a college professor. I'm like an independent instructor. And sometimes I get a piece and I'm like, my immediate thought is, you gotta do this again. It's like, one of my, there's a saying that my father has told me before, and he goes, and it's like, what is it? It's like, if you start with poop and you polish it, at the end of the day, all you have is polished poop, you know? And he didn't say the word poop, right? But that's the word that I have to use today. Okay. I'm gonna do my favorite thing. We're gonna flip this, if it'll let me. Hello? There we go. You know what? It's just as bad flipped. It doesn't really change anything. I really want to know if they used a reference or not, but I guess it doesn't matter. Here's the thing, right? I can tell that this person exclusively draws, like, cartoony stuff, because they were like, I'm gonna draw an eye in here, okay, and I'm gonna use the exact same process that I use for my regular eyes, and it'll look awesome because I'm deciding to make everything super softly blended, and that is wrong. Here's the thing, when it comes to realistic eyes, okay, when we're trying to paint in an eye, you don't use white. Look at how close this, oh my god, this is such a cold blue, why would you do that? Okay, no. We don't start with that, okay? The old master way of painting in eyes is you actually start with brown. Now this is like you start with your skin tone and then work from there. That's how you would do it with like oil paints and whatever, because that's just a nicer way of doing it, right? And then you go in, you block in your dark colors, which, by the way, if we are working with something like this, we're not going to go with blue. We're not going to blue our eyes, because that's going to, again, it makes it cartoony. It's not how we want this kind of thing. We want something that doesn't feel as intense. And it's like, because of color theory, we're going to, eventually it'll build up into the color that we're hoping for, you know? It's like, eventually we'll build up to the sort of vibe that we're looking for, right? I don't want to paint it a whole eye. But regardless as well, when we are painting in an eye, I don't want to see anybody do this first and then try and paint it. This is also not a circle. This is a triangle. I don't know what's going on there. The other thing as well, when we are... I'm going to make this look 20 times better in like 5 seconds, okay? Watch this. Watch this. Okay, first of all, we're going to round this out. Stylistic thing is just to like soften up the pupil or whatever, just to vibe with it more, right? We're going to do that. Oh, this is like a pure black. They used a pure black too. Why would you do that? Okay, well, we're gonna do that. We'll take from the skin. Why not? We'll separate the pupil and the iris, because that's a thing that people have. You wouldn't be able to see if you don't have both of those things. The only thing you should really be using, like, a blue that intense, like, that cold for is, like, the reflections in the eyes. That's literally it. Because that's the only time you'll ever see it. It's like I could put it there. It's a bit extra, though. Let's just do that. Instantly. And you know why? It's because I know how to paint a pupil, bro. Okay? I don't think I need to say this, that a pupil is a circle. I feel like I don't have to say that. I feel like, because you're like, oh, it's a realistic eye, so that's probably what you're going for. I feel like I don't have to say that a pupil is a circle. I feel like that's not something that I have to say. Right? And this one is maybe less obvious to people who don't paint or don't, like, do anything like that, okay? I'm gonna look at every single one of you. I'm gonna keep on painting this because I actually feel like it. I'm gonna look at every single one of you. I'm gonna judge you for half a second. And then I'm gonna tell you that, guess what? When you're painting something, okay, making everything super soft and undefined is not good. Okay? Every time that you decide you're like, oh, it has to be soft because I'm painting, so everything has to look really soft. Wrong! Wrong. Incorrect. Not the way we go about things. Okay? You know why? Because we have a mix of the two. Okay? When we are painting, okay, sometimes, guess what? Okay? I want you to take your hands. Every single one of you, take your hand, okay? You're gonna take your hand, you're gonna turn it into a fist, okay? You're gonna turn it into a fist. You're gonna look at all those little crevices in between your fingers. You're gonna look at the sharp shadows that kind of go in there, and you're gonna tell me if you would use a brush that looks like this or like this to draw in those little lines on your hands, okay? I'm not even gonna let you answer. It's this one, okay? If any of you said this one, I'm disappointed in you instantly, okay? We have a mix. There are crevices. There are tiny little things that we have on our bodies that are like, oh, yes, it's like this one I gotta use something smaller for, and I gotta sharpen it up. This one, yeah, I can use a broad, like, more heavy stroke for it because it's gonna look nicer when it's done that way. Not everything is an airbrush. Not everything is done with the airbrush. I promise you, you can choose to let it go. You can choose to not use an airbrush because the airbrush hurts you, okay? Only the people who know how to work with an airbrush are allowed to use an airbrush because otherwise you're doing too much and it ends up looking awkward, okay? Alright, there's so painting. Okay, hang on. It's only 3:24? Ugh. I feel like I've been speaking for 5 years. Okay, and when you are studying an eye, when you're doing anything of the sort, right? Actually, okay, hang on. Hang on, hold the phone. Which, by the way, actually, this should be warmer. You notice how much nicer it is when the highlights are not a light gray? Crazy, isn't it? Crazy how that works. Crazy how color makes the coloring look nice. Whoa. Foreign concept, isn't it? Hang on. I'm crashing out. I need to... See, I don't know what reference you used, if you used one. I hope you did. If you didn't, I'm gonna be severely disappointed. Okay. Here's the thing that I realized the other day while I was teaching my own students. Okay. Why does the airbrush exist? Because only good artists can use airbrush. Sorry, chat's catching strays. Now, when we are working... I realized the other day while I was teaching my students, I think it was my mentorship students, I was looking through feedback. I love my mentorship students. Love to you all. This is you catching slight strays because I need to speak about this for a second. It made me realize how little some people actually know how to work with references. And it was like, it was a bit baffling. I was like, dude, hang on. Okay. Because, and maybe that's the fault of us as slightly more advanced artists, you know, the more advanced, like, instructors and whatever, where they're like, I don't know, man, look it up, Google it, or whatever, right? Because it's, like, to us, it's so obvious. It's like, you know, you can go and look it up. It's, you don't know how to work with it? Yeah, you look at a reference, you study it, you make sure that you understand what's going on, and then that's when you can finally be like, oh, okay, yeah, now I can draw this, right? But then it's come to my attention that apparently not everybody knows how to work with reference. They'll look at a reference and they'll go, what am I supposed to do with this? Or they'll look at a reference and they go, okay, I did it. And then it's actually completely incorrect because they didn't follow the reference properly. And you're set there and you're like, oh, okay, well, that's still incorrect. And they're like, but I used reference. And I'm like, okay, well, how well did you use the reference? Okay, which is a question I didn't think I'd ever have to ask, but apparently, after my 5 years of teaching, it is a question that I have to ask, because apparently that's just not something people know how to do sometimes. And, you know what? Fair enough, I guess. If you don't know how to work with a reference, if you don't know how to figure stuff out yourself, then yeah, of course you would never know how to make sure that this looks good, or whatever, right? Oh, Faye's here? Hi, Faye. See, the black on the bottom, it's half and half, because it's like, sometimes you can be like, oh yeah, it's like, you can have like, maybe they're wearing like coal liner or whatever, stuff like that, but it's like, I don't think that that's what they're going for. I think that they just don't know how to paint an eye, which is, you know, that's fair, I guess. So let me take a quick detour for a second. Okay, which, by the way, notice how I've been here for less than 10 minutes and I've suddenly made this eye 20 times more believable. I could pin that on me being, you know, an artist and actually doing this stuff for the majority of my life. But, you know, whatever, right? It's because eyes are unimpressive. Hilarious, because that's the recent video that we put out. It hurt itself in its confusion. Regardless... Alright, we're gonna take a quick detour for a second, okay? I'm gonna talk to you about using references, okay? Eye. Let's just look up an eye really quickly, okay? References, when you are working with a reference, you don't just go, okay, I'm gonna look this up and I'm gonna copy it, okay? Because looking up something and then copying it is the loser's way of working with references, because that's not how you do it, okay? Let's say that I am taking a look at this eye right here, and then I'm gonna go, okay, well, it's essentially like, it's like it curves up here, curves down here, pupil, like that, and then, you know, there, and wrong. Wrong. If any of you was following me like that, I hate you. When we are looking at a reference, we are looking at a reference not only to figure out what it is that we want to draw, we want to understand what it is that we're looking at. Okay? I don't only want to be like, oh yeah, it's like it curves up, it curves down. How? How does it curve up? How does it curve down? If I take a look at this, the first thing that I notice, not only does it curve up, it curve down, they curve in opposite directions. I've got a part of the eye that points up in this direction, and a part of the eye that kind of curves like this. They're opposite to each other. It is not a perfect arc, and a perfect arc, this one actually curves more than this one as well. We're taking a look at it. We're understanding what's going on. We notice what directions the eyelashes are going in, how they go in arcs, how the ends of the lashes are a lot longer than the inner ones over here. These ones at the bottom, same thing. They curve outwards and they arc, but they're small, right? I feel like I didn't need to say this. The pupil's a circle. The iris and the pupil are circles. Crazy. I know, it's so crazy and like out of pocket that it's a circle, right? Oh god, it's called an eyeball for a reason, right? And it's like we look at this and again, it's called an eyeball. So we're using prior knowledge as well when working with references. When you're working with a reference, you're not working as if you know nothing. You're working as if you have an educated guess. You are working as if you have an educated guess. It's an eyeball. So that means that we're thinking about how this skin also curves around the entire eye. Yes, fantastic. I didn't think I'd have to say these things, but these are the kinds of things I have to say to some people who don't know how to submit a Google Drive file. Okay, this is an eyeball, so we've got this, and then we've got the lens or whatever that's on top of it, right? We've got the pupil and the iris that sit on top of there, which, by the way, this is one that maybe not everybody knows if you're not over the age of 5, but the the iris doesn't sit completely flat on the eye. It's a lens. It bulges off a little bit. That's exaggerated, but it bulges off a little bit, right? It's like an extra little dewdrop on top of there, right? And then we think about this like piranha plant lips. It curves around the entire eye, and that's kind of how we think about our eyelids. Yes, so depending on what direction that pupil goes, we're thinking about our eyelids in the same respect. They're wrapping around a sphere. Yes, we're not looking, it's not just up and down, it's not just that, right? Yes. Jessie's pissed. I'm tired, that's what it is, bro. I'm exhausted. Alright. I was telling this to my students too, okay? When you are working with reference, okay, you start with reference for one thing, and then as you get better at art, your references change. Because when you start off, you're going to be like, I don't know how to draw this. I don't know how to draw this. I'm going to look up, like, how exactly I draw this, which is the wrong way to approach it, by the way. You're like, I'm going to look up how to exactly draw this. And then as you get better, you're like, I need this less to copy. I need to sort of understand what the forms are, because realistically, the better that you get at drawing things, let's say like I had quite recently actually drawn a turtle properly for the very first time, and I was drawing a turtle in like a specific angle, right? I didn't need to find an image of a turtle in that exact angle, because guess what? I can look at an image of a turtle, I can understand what 3D forms are visible right there, and I can go, okay, I'll figure it out. Because guess what? I know how to problem solve. I'm an adult. I know how to do it. And you know what? Guess when we learn how to problem solve? When we're like 3. When we're cognizant, okay? Problem solving is not hard. Problem solving is not hard. I'm so, yeah. It's okay to ask for help. It is 1000% okay to ask for help. But sometimes you don't need help with everything. You know, we are cognizant, self-aware human beings. I hope, you know, we can think for ourselves. I hope we are taught to use critical thought, but I guess not everybody retains it, you know? Ugh, whatever. Alright. Thank you so much to Cooler Cat for submitting. I don't really have too much more to say about this one. Thank you so much for submitting this one. Alright, everybody applause. Give her some applause. Thank you for putting yourself on the chopping board. We appreciate you. Thank you for your sacrifice, and thank you for your bravery as well. Alright. I forgot to say this at the beginning as well, by the way. When we do these roast streams, afterwards, after this is all done, said and done, okay? You are allowed to reach out to me, or any of the mods or whatnot. I will give you your working file at the end, okay? So if you are, if you were one of the people that is in this stream, if you were handed, if you handed your stuff in, you want the working file for whatever it is that you had afterwards, okay? I will gladly give that to you. You just need to contact me or one of the mods, and we will get in touch, okay? Just letting you know. So, if you are one of the people that's in here on this stream today, you have the ability to contact myself or somebody else afterwards, and I will gladly take a look. Alright? Okay. Thank you, Vin. Have a good day. Oh, that is the problem of thinking properly in 3D. Go get a 3D model. Can't think about it? Look at it. There's free resources everywhere. It's not hard to Google. It's so easy to Google. It's so easy to Google. Okay. Resources are everywhere. Alright. Alright, we're back, people. This one is by Ender in the Discord. She is one of our lovely members, and I figured it was probably a good idea to pick a member. Pick one of the members that are supporting the channel, so thank you for supporting us monetarily. Oh my god. Oh yeah, Ender, her handle, I was not given what social media it is, but Ender_spec_biologist on wherever, I guess. I don't know where that's supposed to be at, but there's a link to it. Oh, you're here? Sorry. Alright. You know what I said about the last one, where I'm like, where do I start? You know? Like, where do I begin? You know? There's so many places that I could start from. You know, there's so many different things that I could immediately start off with, right? I'm like, it's like, maybe, you know, I could, I could get more personal. I could say, like, you know, it's, you know, I could be like, here's the, I don't even know where know where to start. Here's the, I'm getting the vapors, bro. I can't breathe. Okay, let me sit up. Ugh. Okay. It's like, where do I start? You know, I could start with, like, you know, the placement of the text on this shirt, where it's like, there is isolated on the chest, and then it's like, if I was to actually draw out this sweater afterwards, it would be like, and it's on like a flat surface, it would be like there, and then my sweet, like, it's like meant to be isolated on the, like, the boobs, you know, like the, I don't know, man. And it's like, maybe it's like I could say like these sweat lines that look like Navi's wings on either side of the head here. I could talk about this hair, bro. Both of the hair, bro. It's like they've got like little fins going off this entire thing. It's like, it feels like I'm looking at spikes going off. It's like there's no actual like hair going on. It's clumps. It feels like it. You ever seen like sheep shearing videos? You know, you ever seen sheep shearing videos where it's like the wool is like super matted on top of the sheep, and then they shear it off, and it's just in these like peaks. They're like in these like points, because it's like all the like dirt has caked on top of it, and it makes like a full, like, you know what I mean? Oh my god. Let me do my favorite thing too. All right. That doesn't change anything, actually. That makes it, that's upsetting, but it doesn't change anything, which is, it's like, because there's no real anything going on here. These hands, bro. Oh my god, sorry. I processed the hands. Where did these fingers go? This tangent is crazy that's going on here, but that's okay. It's whatever. The thumb joint is off to the side here. it's like, I'm like, it's the side of the hand here. It's like, if this is the palm is, oh, the palm is also overreaching the edge of the sweater too. So it's like, if we got the, I'm trying to break down this hand. If we have like if this is the palm right here, right? We got the palm kind of going right here. That means the thumb is right on this tiny little edge going on here. And we've got 1, 2, so that means a 3 joint is here. And then 1, 2, and then 3 back here. These joints are all the wrong size as well. Like, we're not dealing with that. Did you use a reference? I hope you did. If you did, then you failed spectacularly, but, you know, whatever. This coloring is also rough, dude. Like, that's... Did you not know how to color inside the lines? It's like we've got, like, all this flow out here, all this. We got the chicken scratching line art going on, too. You know what I mean? Blue blush is fine, but why is it this shade? Why is it so light? We don't need to... We don't need that. Oh! Sorry. I just processed. Why... What do we got going on here? Why do the lips end here? Why does there so much more mouth? The lips are here. Oh my god. It's like if I went like... It's like if I went like... Bro! It's giving Nintendo Mii! It's giving the Miis, bro! It's giving the Miis! Stop it! It's giving the Miis! Alright, let's look at this anatomy too here. Alright, we've got this... This is a crazy shape that's going on right now. Pac-Man took a bite out the side here, bro. Let's, like, we got, like, that crazy shape going on here. And then... It's like, let's say it continues over here. There's an ear right here. You know, whatever, right? If we continue, this is going outwards. So it's like, there's not even a continuation of the head, right? But let's say that it goes like this, right? Let's say that we got this going on. So this is the edge of the neck. Let's hope that the neck ends here-ish. Actually, it should end like here-ish, but it doesn't. It keeps going. So then I assume you drew it all the way out to here, probably. If you were thinking that far, which, based on how everything is linking up, I don't think you were. Which is a problem. Immediately. Yeah. Right. Oh my god, what else could I say? Oh, yeah. Sorry, I need to... Jump scare. Boo, you know. This is crazy. This, like, this cutting out here is nuts, bro. Do we... Am I okay. I love, because this is a common mistake. It's not even, like, this is not even you specifically, Ender. This is, like, so many people do this, where they're like, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna draw this person. They've got a huge chest. We're gonna put them in a shirt. And guess what? The shirt's gonna do this. And I sit there and I cry. I sit there and I cry. I weep. I weep because of my sorrow. Okay? I am a very well-endowed woman. I'll just say that, okay? It's like, you know, I kind of, you know, I have a physical reference right in front of me, right? Do you really think, okay, do you really think that shirts vacuum seal all the way underneath the chest, right? Because here's the deal, right? You can have skin-tight things. Okay, you can have skin-tight things, because skin-tight things will carve out the chest a little bit more. That's fine. You can do that too. But it's when people draw it like this, and it goes all the, like, it does that magic, right? And it's like, it's doing that, and then also these, which imply that it's like, alright, you want to see this? You want to see the magic of tiny little things going on here? Okay, because here's what's going on, right? For those who don't know this, okay, for those who don't know this, the people, when you, here's the I'm struggling. The words, here, when you are lining, okay, line art and the cleanliness of your lines and the gesture of your lines is so important. So important, to the point that I don't think you understand how important it's supposed to be. Okay, and obviously it's like some of you in chat are getting real bold and you're going like, oh, yeah, it's easy. Here's some things you want to think about, okay? With this tiny little notch right here, even zoomed out, this hand looks too big for the edge of this wrist, wrist. Because these lines are curving inwards, this tells us that the rest of the body keeps going in this way. So this is where that ends, and then suddenly we have chest going on here, right? Suddenly we've got chest going on there. This little notch right here tells us that there is a notch between this part of the arm and this part here. This little thing right here tells us that there is the arm going like this. This right here, again, gives us an awkward shape. This tells us that there's more going on here, right? The direction, oh. Sorry, I zoomed in here. I shouldn't have. I've gotta keep going. Okay, the cleanliness, the tiny little lines, the tiny little extra bits that you do. This right here as well. We've got this little curve here. Again, it implies that there's more going on there. Okay, every tiny little line that you decide to do implies something. Okay? Every tiny little line that you decide to do implies something. Every tiny little, and not even tiny. This is not tiny. What's going on here? This is not tiny. This is wrong. But every tiny little thing that you decide that you're gonna draw, okay, it implies something. So cleanliness, to a certain degree, is really important. And even if you're not doing something clean, you gotta at least make sure that your gesture is correct, because if not, then you're gonna end up looking like your bottom of your torso is the hat of a gnome. Okay? Okay, because this also implies, right? Again, this implies that we've got the craziest hourglass figure going on here, so much so that a vacuum seals in here, and then we've got a random set of boobs on top of here. All right, because again, that fabric, if we're thinking about how intense that grab is underneath this chest area here, all right, that's pretty crazy. Okay. It's so easy to fix this. It is so easy, okay? I keep on fixating on this because how can I not, really? It's so easy to fix this. You know how you fix this? And this arm would be going over top, by the way. But even then, this is a really awkward pose. I have to, never mind, it's actually not that easy to fix it, but it's easy to fix the fabric because fabric falls. Oh, we can fix the wording too there. You know, whatever, right? Fabric falls. Fabric does not vacuum seal, okay? Fabric does not cut the parts of the body out. It doesn't do that, okay? Easy peasy. So easy. It falls. Imagine a waterfall coming off of the edge of a cliff, okay? If you've got the edge of a cliff, is the water going to do this? No! It's going to do that. Okay, the water falls off the edge of the cliff. Exact same thing that happens with a chest, okay? I could make so many jokes. If you've got a chest, right? I'm not gonna, though. If you've got a chest going on here, right? We're not gonna have the fabric vacuum seal it. It's gonna fall off the edge like that. And again, you can have tighter fabrics. That's cool too, right? Tighter fabrics, that's completely fine. You can have it like kind of go around the shape of the body, but it's not gonna do this. It's not gonna do that, alright? Again, it's not that hard to look at references. Even if you have never seen a chest in your life, you can Google it. Google a woman. Google a person with boobs. Anybody. It's just, there's billions of references out there. There are people. There's so many people, you know. There are billions of people out there, and I'm certain that some of them have pictures online. Okay. Yeah, this pose is awkward. Let's fix that. You wouldn't need to bend the arm. Look at that. Unbent it, it's instantly better. and like just pull out that arm some more. Look at that. Wow. Sorry. That back and forth is crazy. Okay. Look at that. Wow. So much better. Okay. Here's a fun little trick where you're like, if you're ever like, oh, posing, it's so like, you know, it's like, it's so hard, and like, I can't find poses for, first of all, this is one of those basic poses. You could definitely look up 2 people holding hands. That's not hard to find, ever. Alright. Second thing. Okay. If you're ever doing a pose, you're like, I want to do this pose off the top of my head. If you're like me and you do really hyper-specific poses, you can't figure out where the heck, you know, you can't figure out where the heck, like, things are supposed to go because you need to visually see it in front of you, you know, whatever, right? A skill issue, kidding. But you can look it up, right? If you can't do that, you know where you can find a body? You got one. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that nuts? Who would have thought? Who would have thought, right? You've got a body, you know? You've got a body. Crazy. And guess what? You're watching this on something. If it's on a phone, then you got a camera. Or maybe you've got a mirror nearby. Do the pose. Crazy, isn't it? It's like Jessie must have 5,000, like, must have gotten 5,000 on her IQ score to think about, you know, looking at yourself. Like, that's nuts. That's crazy, you know? And it's like, what about cinematography? If I want to pose a specific angle that I can't do by myself, you got friends? Get them to take the picture. If that answer is no, then that's a different problem. I can't help you with that one. But they just because guess what? I do poses for my brother all the time. My brother does poses for me all the time, right? You just take pictures of each other. It's like, because he works in game art, right? So it's like he sometimes needs help with like animation reference. He takes a video of me and does that, right? Or it's like if I need a specific pose, I'm like, hey, can you hold this? And he goes, sure. I take a picture. Easy. Or I got friends. Or guess what? I look up a 3D model and I use that. If I really can. Guess what? Oh my god. I had to draw a horse the other day. Okay? I had to draw a horse. A horse from a very specific angle, where the camera was below it, and I had to see the back of the cheek, right? I'm gonna give you all a little piece of advice. There is a beautiful website, okay? There's a beautiful website called Sketchfab, okay? Sketchfab is like Google Images for 3D models. Not only that, you can take those 3D models, you can pose them. You can pose them because you can change the camera angle, you can change the way that it looks, right? Easy peasy. And then guess what? You screenshot it, there's your reference. Easiest thing in the world. Easiest thing in the world. And guess what? Even if I didn't tell you that, you can Google it. 3D reference for artists. You have Google. You are watching YouTube, so you have Google. Okay? It is the easiest thing in the world. Okay? It's so easy to look up reference. It's so easy. I never want to hear anybody say that, I can't find the right reference ever again. You can make it. And here, if you don't have friends, you don't have people who could take the picture of for you, find a high shelf, pose your phone up on it, and use the timer. It's easy. It's so easy. It is so easy. Okay? I had to breathe for a second. This one's also, again, another, like, I'm just gonna... Alright. Again, blue blush, that's fine. We can have some stylized stuff going on. You really think that people's blush makes their face lighter? No. The answer is no, by the way. Oh, there's a couple colors used on here. That's fine. Wait, but you got it with the natural blush on here. That's why there's 2 colors on here. There's another... You got it with the natural blush. Then why this? Why this? Okay. I'm gonna do something crazy. We're gonna switch to a multiply layer. We're gonna pick the blue that we kind of want. Whoa. How's she doing that? How's she doing that? Blush doesn't make the face lighter, it makes it darker. That's it. That's the beginning and the end. Blush makes the face darker, doesn't make it lighter. Because it's blood. It's blood coming up. I'm making blush a lot less cute for you. The blush is just blood coming to the surface of the skin, so it darkens the skin because essentially it is a darker substance coming up to the surface of your skin. Okay, there you go. Easy peasy. All right. Also, if you're gonna draw in lips, it might be a shocker. Might be a shocker that lips, they trace the shape of the mouth. If you're gonna do that. Which, by the way, if you decide that you're gonna, like, you know, have somebody with, like, a crazy, you know, not crazy, this is not a super crazy expression, but if you're gonna have somebody who is, like, you know, what do you call it? They're, like, flustered or whatever. The mouth is not gonna go all the way to the back of your cheek. Must be crazy information, I know. It's like you could stylize it a little bit, but if you're bringing it all the way back here, bro, that's going nuts. That's going crazy. Just easy peasy. Just usually my rule of thumb is it shouldn't exceed past the edge of the eye, whatever the edge of your eye looks like. Okay, so if you kind of want it wider, you can have it maybe there. And then, yeah, you can use lines, but that looks a little awkward. I personally would probably just use color exclusively. It's like actually use like just a little bit of color, and I think that tends to look a little bit nicer. If you want to do that. And then like apply the bottom lip. That tends to be what I do. It's up to you. That's a stylistic choice, but just not that far, bro. Not the giving piranha plant. We don't need this all the way back there. That's not. I just need to see that. Yeah, that's crazy, bro. That's nuts. That's here. Let's put this in a folder so it's like, oof, woof. Okay. All right. Last thing too. Giving piranha plant. It is though. It's giving. I could have said something so much worse, but I didn't. I'm restraining myself just a smidge. Okay. Last thing I'll say, because I'm really railing into this one. I feel a little bad. Not really, but I feel a little bad. Okay. Hair grows. Pretty crazy, right? Hair grows from places. Pretty crazy, right? Hair grows like grass. Maybe that's a little crazy. Okay. Hair grows out of points, right? And no matter where you're thinking of where it grows out of, right? Hair has to follow a specific pattern, right? If you've kind of got hair going on here and it's just randomly pointing in directions, you're gonna look like a sheared sheep, okay? You're gonna look like a sheared sheep because guess what? There's no rhyme or reason to the direction of these hair follicles, right? There's no rhyme or reason. This one is like, fine, it's whatever. I don't like, here's another example of the lines, right? These lines and this imply that these are two separate sections up here. So what is this? What's this random thing? Because this line implies, because if these are two separate sections, we've got a random extra bulb back here that doesn't continue. So what is this? Is it just that? We need to continue this out, or if this is also meant to be one thing, it's like we need to find the part for the hair because there's no part. This feels like a bulb. It's like okay. So hair grows from either a part or a point. The point is called a crown. The crowns is like a single point where the hair grows out of, or a part, which is like a line down the head where the hair grows out of, right? And obviously different hair textures and whatever, it's gonna look a little different for each one, right? But if you got somebody with a fringe, Then you've got another part up here. It's like, we've got that, and then the hair grows from that fringe, and then you've got some hair coming down from here too, right? And then if this is getting pulled back into a ponytail, if you got random little things like this, then that creates a random extra little shape in the back of the head there. So if you got all that hair pulled back in a ponytail, maybe you could have some strands coming out of it, but it's all going to be going back towards that direction. Hair flows. It grows like grass and it flows like water. If it's being pulled in a direction, it's all gonna go in that direction, okay? Not that hard. You've got hair, look at it. Okay. Thank you so much to Ender for submitting. Everybody give them claps. Everybody give her a round of applause. Everybody give them a nice, good job for submitting. And well done, and thank you for being brave and putting yourself on the chopping block. I hope you enjoyed that. Or I hope you're not crying. That was a little, the other one, I'll say that one was a little rough. But thank you for submitting. Thank you for your sacrifice. Have a good day. Okay. I need water after that one. Alright. This next one I had to crop. Which I've never had to do before. Because, you know, usually people just submit their artwork. And that's it, right? Normally I'd just have to, you know, like, just put up the piece, and then that's it, right? No, this person took a selfie. You can see their hand right here. JAHNNYNEL or Nani, I think? That's not why. I'm not trying to mispronounce anything, so I apologize if I mispronounce your name. Nani or JAHNNYNEL? Nani? I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure it's Nani. But they took a whole selfie. Based on the layout, I'm assuming it was a computer webcam where they took the selfie, or where she took the selfie, sorry. She took the selfie, and, you know, there was a whole other person on the side here, you know. And I was like, great, so I've got to crop it. I didn't think I needed to say this. Don't take a selfie when you're submitting to a public roast, because then, you know, your face is gonna be shown in front of a bunch of people, which is crazy, you know? So let's not do that. No selfies, okay? And then you're gonna have to make me crop it and figure out how to deal with, you know, getting you out of the picture. Because frankly, I don't care. You know? Alright, so no I didn't think I'd have to say that, but no selfies, okay? And yeah, now it's a terrible, it's so crunchy, dude. It's so, like, I can't even zoom in, because I can't see anything. I had to use 90% of my brain power to read the text down here, which, by the way, the text, it's giving. It's really giving. It's really, oh, I feel 12 again, reading it, you know? Okay, oof. Yeah. Where do I start? I feel like I keep saying this for every single one. Where do I start? Okay. Where do I... Okay. I'm like, I could so, I'm like, yeah, it's cringe, but, you know, when people say that, they're like, oh, I'm cringe, but I'm free, you know what half of that statement is? It's that you're cringe. So, it's an excuse. You know what I'm saying? Regardless. Okay. First thing I've noticed, alright, well, not the first thing I noticed, but one of the things I'm noticing, okay? Why'd you do this in line paper? Okay. I'm gonna tell you right now. Alright. The more that you work with your artwork, the more important it becomes that you're using good paper. Nuts. Isn't that nuts? Yeah. Finding a sketchbook, finding something that is blank, pretty crazy. I know, foreign concept, isn't it? The foreign concept of finding pages with outlines. Pretty crazy. right? Foreign, super foreign concept of finding something that doesn't have lines, right? And it's like, you could always say, like, oh, it's like, I can't, it's like, oh, I really want a sketchbook, but like, this is gonna sound really mean, but it's not. It's the like, oh, I can't find a sketchbook, that I can't afford it, right? If you have a notebook, you can afford a sketchbook. You can get a dollar store sketchbook. You can get a sketchbook for like $2. Cheaper than a lined notebook, actually. You can get one for cheaper, I promise. Okay? You go to like a local, guess what? Guess what too? Hey, guess what? Thrift stores sometimes have blank sketchbooks. Nuts, isn't it? Nuts. It was like, you can really easily like do that too, right? It is really, really cheap to draw on blank pages from literally any Walmart. Yeah, you can literally go to any Walmart, yeah, too, as well. It's like, I'm a Canadian, so it's like, maybe there's like another cheap store around the world that you can go to and get something like this. Easy peasy. Okay, super, super easy. Okay, let's move on to the actual artwork, which, hang on, let me do some, I should have done some photo editing before this too, so that I can take a look at this a little better. Oh, here we go. You can really see all the distortion going on. You can really, you can really see the, oh my god, look, it's like if I color pick, there's no two of the same color, it's all just, because of like the crunchiness of this image. The crunchiness murders me. I'm so, oh my god. Alright. First of all, we've got the eye coming off the head here, which is crazy work. You know, we got the Rayman Origins head kind of popping off the neck here, right? We've got the hand with the craziest grip on the arm, by the way. It's like we're holding a whole soda can over here, you know. Can you do that to your arm? Actually, I can do that to my arm, now that I'm thinking about it. But that's like a, actually not to that degree. No, I don't think I can do it to that degree. Maybe you can, who knows. Crazy grip on the arm we got going there regardless. Alright, we've got this tiniest pocket in the world, which I assume these are meant to be pens, in which then these pens are the tiniest pens in the world. We've got another hand over here where all the fingers are the exact same length, epically, you know. And then that's it. That's all that we're working with. I can talk forever about this. I think I'm losing my line, losing grip on sanity. You're not. I promise you, you're not. Okay. Again, where do I start? Let's talk about proportioning, yeah? Let's talk about proportioning. Proportioning. Okay. Is a thing that people hear, and they go, oh yeah, that's that human anatomy thing. No! Proportioning is for everything. Yeah? Proportion is one of the parts of, it's one of the principles of design. And what it states is that it's based on sizing. It's based on sizing and how things are sized relative to one another. Okay? So when you are working with, you know, proportion, if this is how big the hand is, and that's how tiny a pen is, what are we doing here? Because that's super, super tiny. Same thing with just the shape of the size of this pocket as well. If this is the size of the pocket, what are we fitting in here? What's happening there? Okay? Because that is a super, super tiny pocket, right? I could go on proportion about actual anatomy as well. Again, the eye is coming off of the face here. And then this mouth is super, super tiny down here. You know, the nose is like whatever, right? Like, proportion is for everything. So if these are pens, I'm just assuming they're pens. If not, this is a sewn shut pocket, in which that I'm like, that's not even your fault. That's just a fault of fashion, and they love to put on fake pockets, which I think is stupid. If you're putting on a pocket on something, I want it to work. Thank you. This is not about the art. This is just society. Why are we putting fake pockets on things? Why are we putting fake pockets on things? It's really not hard, bro. Why are fake pockets a thing? Why are fake pockets a thing? You know, why are fake pockets a thing? We've also got this kind of, like, rectangle shoulder thing going on here. Right? Which, you know, whatever. I think that, like, if you are gonna go for something that's more cartoony, like... Okay. How do I phrase this? Maybe I don't start with that one. Where do I keep going from here? I can't tell if this is an ear or an earring. In which then, if this is an earring, why is it so down low? If it's an ear, why is it so down low? Because then where's the other one? Because then I can't see the other one. It's like it would have to be down here if that's the case. If we've got ears, ears are usually top of the eye, bottom of the nose. So it's like ear would be here, and then it would be earring down here, right? If that's an earring. If this is an ear, that's a crazy ear we got going on. All right. Okay. Another thing, one of the things that's going on here that I've kind of noticed that I think a lot of people don't realize. Another one of those things where it's like, oh, it's like, yeah, I'm drawing it like this. Why does it look awkward? And it's because you don't realize it. When you open your mouth in any way, you know your jaw moves, right? So you don't draw your jaw the same way if you're drawing somebody with their mouth open versus their mouth closed. Okay. Which is, you know, so you'd think it'd be obvious, right? You'd think it'd be one of those things where it's like you think about it and you're like, oh yeah, my jaw does move when I talk, you know? My jaw does, you know, go up and down, you know? So no matter what style you're working in, all right, if we've got this going on here, if we've got the mouth moving in any regard, then we move that jaw, we move the mouth up and down, right? In this way, with this mouth kind of smiling here, the teeth aren't moving, but the muscles of the face are, so it's, you know, give them a bit more of a chin. You gotta kind of have a chin going on, right? You gotta kind of pump that out in the bottom. You know, give them a little more room, you know, give them a chin, give them back their chin. I think it would be great if you did that. I'm certain they miss it. Okay. Hair as well. Hair's got volume. If you're drawing the entire head going on here, we're not going to put, even if it's slicked back, hair's still got a little bit of volume. We're going to give it some volume, okay? Because it's another object on top of your head, so you want to give it a little bit breathing room as we're moving around here, right? You know, however we do this. You know what? I will applaud you on the fact that you know how hair grows out of the head, so that's great. You know, we've got it coming out of there. I feel like this person really likes MCR. I can kind of feel it. Or Youngblood, depending on how young they are. It's just one or the other. I can feel it. I can feel it in my bones. You know. Fingers do not follow the same shape. Fingers are not all the same length. Kind of crazy. You ever looked at your own hand before? They are most likely not all the same length. You know, people are like, oh yeah, my pinky finger, it's the smallest one. Yeah, because your fingers are different lengths, right? So let's not have them be drawn like a paddle. Let's not do that. And when you're gripping onto something, your fingers are not going to be that far back. We're not going to have that. And also at different lengths of far back, because that joint is strange there. So let's, if we're having something gripping around a tube of some kind. Once again, references. I know, crazy. You can always look up a reference, or again, just do the pose yourself. Not the hardest thing in the world, right? Look it up, or do it. Just do it, right? Not super, super difficult. You know, lots of different ways that you can find reference. So many different ways you can find reference. I saw somebody in chat be like, what if they were in school? Even easier to find reference. You're around people. There are people in your classes. You know, whatever. All right, everybody say thank you to Nani. Thank you to her. Everybody give applause. Thank you for being on the chopping block. Thank you for submitting your work. All right. We appreciate you putting yourself out there and being a good sport about things. And I hope you have a good day. All right. Remember on a previous video, or one of the other people did, that you said the longest finger should be shorter than the palm. My longest is longer? I didn't say that one. That one wasn't me. My middle finger is the length of my palm. Yeah, my middle finger is the length of my palm. Maybe that's what you gotta follow. Interesting. How often we do our roasts? I think we're doing them quarterly. I think we're doing the 4 per year. We're doing critiques more frequently, but roasts are gonna be like once every season. So it's like this is the what do you call it? This is the first one for winter, and then we'll have one for spring, one for summer, one for fall. I meant the person who said announced it. So yeah. Because he's like, you said you or one of the other people, and I'm like, well, it wasn't me, so it must be one of the other people. That ain't you. I'm not accusing you of saying it was me. I'm just like, well, of those people, it was not me. I don't think I ever noticed that, regardless. Okay, this next one is by McGuffin. His Discord is the McGuffin. He has submitted for this one. Let me just flatten this really quick, just in case. Sometimes I need things. Okay. This is usually the meanest. I have the most pent-up rage, it's true. Okay. What number did you put for yourself again? I don't remember. Let's take a look. 6. Okay. I would agree with that. Yeah. Okay. Now, McGuffin submitted 4 things to me. Okay. And really, like, I looked at all 4. I'm like, this is the one that I could do better. There was another one that I was like, yeah, I could probably crit this one, but it's boring, so I'm not gonna. And, like, realistically, it's like I looked at all of them and I was like, I'm not vibing with any of these too much. I'm like, I can talk about this one. Why not? Let's talk about that. We're going to talk about 2 things today, actually. We're going to talk about 2 things. One thing, on the more artistic side of things, all right, when we're working with digital art, okay, when we are doing anything like this, digital art is so much the final details. And if it is like, okay, I'm gonna do this piece, and then I'm gonna cel shade it all one color, and then I'm gonna tack on a random canvas filter, we're gonna call it a day, right? I'm bored. There's no energy to this. There's no interest. I'm not interested. Okay. Half of art is the interest that you're putting into something. Is you're doing something interesting, you know? And I'm like, and it's like, if you show it to somebody and their first reaction is I'm bored, then something's wrong, okay? Because half of it is, you know, the concepts or the energy that you put into it or the whatever, right? There's a lot of things that you can put into your work, okay? And it's like, if there isn't that there, if you don't have those final little touches, right? Maybe some extra lighting to the edge of the shadows, right? It's like, you got this. It's like the subsurface scattering is a really popular thing that some people do. You know, add a little bit of color to the edge of the shadows and suddenly the shadows look a lot nicer, right? Oh, I should have done this on another layer. let's do that just so I can flip back and forth. Yeah, I know. Adding a little bit of, like, warmth to the edge of the shadow. It's like it makes it feel a lot, like, more lifelike. It's like you breathe some life back into there. Maybe add some, who knows, some bounce light to, again, like, add more depth to the inside of the shadows, because having them all one color is boring and, like, looks flat. And it's like, oh, it's like, but it's, you know, I added the canvas texture. Doesn't that give it texture? No, you're giving it you're giving the entire canvas a texture. Sure, you're not giving the piece a texture, you're not giving the subject a texture or vibe or, like, visual interest, right? Look at how much nicer that immediately looks, and it's like, what, like 3 strokes? Who cares, right? The visual interest is half of the battle when it comes to doing visual arts, you know? And if you are like, oh, it's like, I can't, like, I don't know how to make your work I don't know how to make my work interesting. I don't know that. First of all, you're on an art tutorial channel. There are so many videos. Take the time to watch them. If you don't, why are you here? Second of all, I don't know, man, have a thought, have a creative thought. There's, like, you can come up with things on your own, you know? Like, you don't have to ask people to, like, how do I be more creative? It's like trying to teach people to be funny. You can't teach people to be funny. You gotta figure out how to be like, some people are just funny, right? Or they come up with material, or they figure out how other people are funny, what they find funny, and then they, you know, copy it or whatever, right? That's what it's like being creative. I can't teach you how to be creative. You gotta figure it out on your own. You gotta figure out what makes you you. You gotta figure out what makes your work special, right? Because if you can't answer that, then you're already in the red. Yeah. Most devastating piece of feedback that I ever got from a professor when I was in college was a professor. He said to me, he was like, yeah, you're really good. I've seen you before, though. And I had a crisis right then and there, and I was silent my entire ride home thinking about my life choices, okay? Worst ride of my life, by the way, like sitting there and having to think about what he just said to me, okay? Because artists are rough, you know? Artists are rough, because it's like art has been around for so long, and then what people like is so saturated. It's like that because then it's like coming up with something interesting is so hard, because it's like, oh, it's like I gotta figure out how to make myself unique in some way, shape, or form. That doesn't mean coming up with something new, but it's bringing life into your artwork, and whatever that means for you as an artist is different for each person, you know, that kind of vibe. I can't even draw on this properly without it looking awkward because of the, you know, whatever. But it's another culprit of highlighting the boob. You know, if this arm is casting a shadow, it's going to cast over the entire chest, bestie. It's not going to be just the one part. We are going to have it going across the entire thing. It will not reach this far. If we're thinking on that logic, all right? It's not going to do that. Okay. Other thing that's going on here, the way that this hair has rested, I think this is if I had to guess, this is an equine skull of some kind. So, if we're continuing it back here, equine skulls are actually pretty big. We're gonna go, it would normally go all the way back here and continue like that. Which, you know, if you want to cut that off, whatever, right? Or actually, maybe this is like a canine skull. Oh no, it's because of the canines. I'm pretty sure this is a dog or a wolf. Okay. So this would go all the way back here. Where's all this going? But if it doesn't, if it ends right here, which perhaps that's what you're going for, whatever, right? This hair is crazy. If we're thinking about it from the other side, right? The way that this is kind of doing this, right? It's like one part. It's all kind of going in these exact same directions, right? A part ends, you know? Because of this shape right here, it implies that the entire form of the hair is doing this magic, and that's it, right? It's like we've got two strings of cables kind of coming off the head here, and that's about it, right? It's doing that magic, you know? That's not, sorry, I hit the mic. That's probably not what we're hoping for. If I had to take a guess, I'm assuming you'd rather have the hair actually go around the entire head, okay? So we probably want the hair to go around the head. If you've got a part, that's fine, but there's gonna be some edges of that that's still gonna go around the back of the head like that, you know? So we're not just gonna have that. And look, it all rounds out. Crazy. You know, the easiest fix in the world. Just do that. You know? And have that go around the entire head. Whoa, nuts, crazy, intense. You know. Wow, look at that. Yeah, same with the skin. Because this shadow is so, like, it's so cold. And it, like, you have no warmth left in the skin by doing that. And it makes it all feel really, really boring and one note and flat. I'm like, you can really make this better. I saw you say that you submitted... I know you're in chat. I saw you say that you submitted your boring work because it wasn't safe for YouTube. Even the stuff that wasn't safe for YouTube, I'm bored with too. Sorry. Making it edgy doesn't make it interesting. I know some people would hate to hear that. Doing edgy, dark subjects does not make you interesting, okay? Shock value is not interesting. Alright, a little bit of bounce light can really help carve out parts of the body a little bit more. Makes it look more fascinating, right? Give it something, you know. We can do something here. Okay. Being edgy does not make you interesting. Doing a dark subject does not make you interesting. Because guess what? Been there, done that. Right? And here's the thing. Right? Anybody can do dark art. That's fine. I like me a good dark art as well. I follow a lot of horror artists. I follow a lot of, like, you know, people who do darker subjects and whatever. And there's a difference between horror art and dark art that is dark and interesting, and then art that feels like it's just for shock value. And the difference is finesse. But, like, because one of those handles the work with maturity, and the other one handles it in the way where I just really want to, you know, I want to make art that I think would provoke people. I want to make art that provokes people and makes them upset or scared because I think that that's funny, or I think that that's interesting, or I think that that's just a thing that I want to do to people, and I think that you're boring for that. And then outside of that, when we have people who do dark artwork and it is provocative, and it is like, whoa, that's intense, or it is, you know, whatever, it doesn't feel like they're trying to point a finger in my face. It feels like they're trying to actually send me a message. It doesn't feel like I have a finger pointed in my face and that they're trying to say, like, hey, look at this right now. It feels like they actually want to speak. And this is how they do it. And they don't care if people see it or not. And that, I think, is what makes the dark art fun. Yes? So when you're trying to make something provocative, something that feels interesting, don't do it for the sake of provocation. Do it for the sake of fun. And maybe that's a little bit strange. But on the other topic that I think I want to speak of, all right. How do I phrase these? How do I phrase this? I think I have the boring syndrome. I keep working to fix it. It comes with time. It's not a thing that A lot of people. It's a thing that every artist struggles with, I think. It's just like yeah, my work is kind of boring. And in which then it's like, I think a lot of my work is boring too. It's like, when you have something that's good, you'll know it. It's more of a feeling than something that can be taught, I think. Okay. Sure. McGuffin, I know you. I've seen you around the Discord. I've seen you talk to the other people. I've seen what happens sometimes when you talk to the other people in the Discord as well. You know. One of the biggest parts about being an artist, alright, and this is a roast stream, so, you know, I can kind of, you know, be a little less nice or whatever, right? One of the hardest parts about being an artist is learning to listen, you know, and learning to, you know, understand that when you are trying to be a better artist, you have to listen. Because with a defensive nature, you will never get better. You know? Being precious about your work and trying to create reasons and justifications for everything that you do, in the end, literally no one cares. And that's kind of the philosophy that I take with my own work as well. Being an artist means that you have to be less precious about your work, because I do not want to make the art you all want to make because I'm probably too pretentious about art. There you go. There you go again. You're not listening to me. You get it? Not wanting to make the art that anyone makes, that's fine. That's completely fine, okay? But if you go into a place and people don't like it, or they say like, hey, maybe you can do this to make it better, or hey, maybe if you want to get better, you should draw more, maybe don't get mad. Maybe don't push it to the point where people are like, I kind of don't want to have a conversation with you anymore. You know? If you're upset about like what people are saying about your work, don't post it in a crit channel, and maybe don't post your work to somewhere where the channel is focused on getting better at art, you know? If the opinions of others make you upset, then don't focus on trying to get better. Because if you're trying to get critique and have people tell you what to improve about your art and you push back every single time, that's a problem. Upset that I want to make more art, but I can't. Why? Tell me why. Because if the answer is that you don't know how, then you're in the right place. But if the answer is that you just can't, then that's wrong. Because guess what? You have made art and you can keep going. Hi, Microwave. Want to do more, but I don't have the time. I need something quick and efficient. Then get a pen and a sticky note. Nothing is stopping you. Absolutely nothing is stopping you. That goes for everybody in this chat right now, by the way. Doing small doodles is fine. Doing art for fun is fine. Nobody is saying that you have to be the best artist in the world. Nobody's saying that you have to be the next freaking Monet or whatever. You Drawing with pen is so liberating. Drawing without thinking is so fun. It's so whatever. And if you're choosing to do stuff for fun, that's fine. You know, that's completely okay. If you want to do something that's provocative and something that's people don't like the art that I want because it's blah blah blah, right? Then don't get upset when you go to somewhere where you want feedback and then they tell you the feedback and then you're like, okay, well, I should stop doing this forever now. Okay. Because that's not the attitude that you want as an artist. If you want to improve, then you want to improve. If you don't want to improve and you just want to have fun, you know, then that's fine. That's completely fine. You know, this goes for everybody. Being an artist does not mean that it has to lead to a career. Being an artist is a form of self-expression at the end of the day. I am doing it as a career. That doesn't mean you have to, you know, because art gets hard. Art is really hard. Art is so hard, okay? I don't care what anybody says. It is one of the toughest things, and that's just because art is so personal to so many people. And if you can't let that go, that can be really tough, you know? I just like drawing because it's fun, and that's fine. That is completely fine. There was a section when submitting these where some people were like, I want to draw for fun or I want to draw for a career. Drawing for a career is different than drawing for fun. Drawing for fun is the best. It really is. It's the best. I improve my speed by doing doodles and small things for fun, right? Fun drawing is the best. It is. It's liberating. It's awesome. Drawing for career means you have to draw for what people want, unfortunately. You as a person will have to draw in a way where people enjoy it. You know? And that's hard. It's hard. It really is. Drawing for a career means you have to have thick skin. You gotta be really non-precious about your work. You gotta be okay with people talking to you like this. You gotta be, you know... Drawing for a career is different. It's so different. It's so different. Because being an artist is so idealized. It really is. And it's different. But you can have fun. You know? You can have a lot of fun. Just as an artist. Yeah, you can. Being an artist doesn't mean that it's your job. Being an artist just means that you like to create, and doing it for fun versus a career is different. But if you're doing it for a career, you need to figure out how you are going to better yourself for not only yourself, but the sake of the audience that you are hoping to. Because guess what? You're an entertainment. If you're not entertaining, then you're not doing it right. Which sucks. It sucks, right? But that's how it is. That is what art is, you know? But if you're doing it for fun, and whatever. You can literally do whatever you want. I draw for fun. Woo! Woo! And I've seen your work and I like your work. Yeah, it really does. That's how life is. It is. That went into a different kind of rant. This is a roast, and then we kind of went a little real there. So art is hard. Art is so difficult. It is one of the hardest careers. It's one of the most competitive careers in the world. It is incredibly complicated, and there are no two journeys that are the same, and that's why it's so hard to learn from people, because somebody could lead you down a path and then it turns out that it's completely wrong. So, this stream is going to be a lot of shorts. Yikes. Yeah, trying for fun is great. But regardless, everybody claps. Thank you to McGuffin for submitting his work. Thank you for putting yourself on the chopping block. That one was a heavy chopping block too, but thank you all. Give claps. Say thank you to McGuffin for submitting. Where can I upload my art for the next roast? The next roast will be announced on both like Discord and YouTube, so that there'll be places where they'll give you like instructions to submit and whatnot. Best part about art for fun is that you make it when you want to. Art for fun isn't something you should balance in life because it's not a necessity like work or other things. It's like playing a game. Yeah, art for fun just means that you do it because you want to. And going and just constantly saying that you can't is like, so do you want Do you actually want to do it? Which is a question that some people have to ask themselves. That's fine. You know, I know a lot of people who've quit art. It happens, and that's okay. Alright, we're gonna pause for like 2 seconds, okay? I'll be right back. I just really need to go to the bathroom, but I will be right back. Don't go anywhere. We have one more. Alright, hello. Am I audible? Can you hear me? Alright. Yeah. Hello, fantastic. Audible sponsor? No. That's funny though. No. Alright. Excellent, wonderful. We got one more today. This one is by Acidic Angel. He submitted his work for us today. His blue sky is Acidic Angel, one word as well. Yeah, last but not least. Boy, oh boy, we've got another person who drew a ref sheet and then didn't put it on a gray background. Amazing, brilliant, wonderful. This is blue sky. No, I like blue sky. Don't worry about it. I like blue sky. Okay. Okay. When we do ref sheets, Alright. We're doing ref sheets of any kind. Thank you for the $2 Achilles tendon. Okay. When we do ref sheets, okay, I don't know how many times I have to say it, do not do a pattern and don't make it a color. Don't do either of those things, okay? You also don't really want to make it white. You don't want to make it black. Why? Because it's a ref sheet. We're supposed to see these colors as neutrally as possible. As neutrally as possible. If this is a ref sheet, we want to be able to see these colors at a light that is not... Hang on, sorry. We want to be able to see these colors at a light that is not, like, you know, clouded by the colors going around it. Right? Because the problem when that happens is this funny little thing that I've taught a couple times. It's called Chevreul's rule of color theory. We've got a video on it. One of my favorite things with color theory, okay? And how colors interact with each other changes our perception of how, changes our perception of what the colors look like. Oh, would you look at that? Perfect. Okay. Because if I do this really quickly... Look at how much darker all those colors look instantly because I put it on a neutral gray. Neutral gray is what you want. Whoops. Neutral gray is what you want when you're doing ref sheets or character sheets or anything like that, because then you can see these colors for what they are. If we're working with something that does not interact or interacts with the color as little as possible, because neutral gray is right in the center. When we're working with neutral gray, it is as neutral as we can possibly get, right? And look at how dark all these colors are. In fact, they have really, really little contrast. They feel super, super silhouetted. It's really hard to see what's going on here, right? So I don't care how fun or interesting you think that the fun little sparkles and glitter that you put on the background of your character sheets look. It's not going to work if you are using it as an actual ref sheet, you know. Because actual ref sheets, guess what? They're in gray. They use gray. If you look at any concept artists, like, ref sheets, they're, like, gray. They're like, always gray in some capacity. They're, like, a mid-toned gray. And that is genuinely just because it is the easiest to see those colors with a neutral gray. Why doesn't white work, Jessie? Fantastic question. If you have ever seen a value scale before... Sorry, I'm just cutting this out because that's bothering me. If you've ever seen a value scale before, okay? Let me do this magic. I'm just gonna pull this up here really quickly. Let's just make this white, make this black. Okay, we do this. White at one end, black at the other, right? We've got all these grays going on in the center. We've got a bunch of grays going on, you know. Somewhere around here, or like somewhere around this kind of range is what you want for one of these backgrounds, right? I could actually, if I went exactly in the center, it's like, let's do that. Yeah, sure. Like, a lot of people do this, or they do some kind of, like, gradient that's, like, a light to, like, a dark to light gray, right? Whatever. The reason why we don't do white is because you can't get any lighter than white, thus that makes all your colors look darker. We don't do black because you can't get any darker than black, thus it makes all your colors lighter. You go with gray, because then you can get lighter and you can get darker, and those colors will have more impact. If you make the background a color, color looks different if you interact with it. Okay? You ever seen the illusion? The optical illusion? Two grays that look the same illusion. You ever seen the illusion? This funny little picture. Okay. If you ever see this funny little picture, you look at this checkerboard, and you have square A and square B. A looks darker than B does, right? Because of the context that's surrounding it. But these two grays are exactly the same. These two grays are exactly the same. Why? Because A's context is it is in light and it is surrounded by a bunch of light squares. B's context is that it is surrounded by dark squares and put in shadow. So B looks lighter than A because of its context and what surrounds it, even though they are the exact same gray. The same exact thing can be said for color. Okay? This is Chevreul's rule of color interaction. This is how this works. Okay? So if you've got, let's say, we've got a bluish background going on, right? Let's say we've got blue going on. Thank you for the 2, Broken. Say we've got blue. Let's say we've got red. Okay. Let's put in a purple in the center of both of these. What 2 colors make purple? Of like what you learned in school. You don't have to think about color wheels. What 2 colors make purple? Hardest question in the world, guys. I don't know if you'll be able to answer it. What two colors make purple? Blue and red. Fantastic. White and purple. 2 colors that make purple is blue and red, right? In this square, we've got more blue overall. Thus, this circle looks just a little more red because there's less red in the composition. This one has more red overall. Thus, there's less blue in the picture, and it makes the purple in this square look a little bluer. It's contrast. If there is less of something, it sticks out more. Thus, if we've got a red background, the reds are going to stick out less in there. The things that are contrasted against red are going to stick out more than the red hues. Similar to this, if we put things in here, if there are blue toned things in this square, then they're going to be less contrasted. So, if we put a dark bluish, oh, this is actually like a neutral gray. If we put a character that has a lot of cyans and purples and is mostly black on a dark gray, blue and purple background, those colors aren't going to look as good because they're not going to be correct. They're going to be interacting with the background. They're going to make these colors not look good. Another thing that I did that you might have noticed is Another thing that I did that you might have noticed is notice how little room is there. That's awful. I've made it bigger. Okay. These two, if we have tiny, itsy bitsy amount of room there, that is also a tangent. Because tangents, if you don't know what they are, is when things get a little too close. Okay. So you gotta air it and it like chokes out your entire piece and it makes it all feel awkward and I hate it. So what you want is enough breathing room so that things can sit in a composition better, okay? Because you can have tangents with the edge of a canvas. It makes it look real awkward. Like if I was to draw a person and they're standing right here and their shoulder ends up with the edge like that, you know? We're sitting there and bro's doing this, right? That's too close. We've got no breathing room. Bro is in the corner. And there's so much space that he could be occupying that feels better. He can breathe now. He's not backed into a corner anymore. He's not backed into the edge, you know. You know. Please stop doing tangents. I'm begging you. Please learn how to space your work. It's really not the worst thing in the world. Perp, thank you for the $5. $4.99. Epically. You know, it's really, you could feel the exhaustion in my voice now. You can feel that I've, like, lost all hope. So these colors, again, in my opinion, are super, super dark. The other reason, right, when you're picking colors, some people are like, but I want to make the character, like, as dark as the night. It's like, why can't I use a perfect black? You know why you can't? Because if you do that, we're going to look at this value scale again. If we make the character perfectly black, nothing is darker than that color. How are you gonna add shadow? You can't. Because you can't deepen the values anymore, right? You can make somebody dark. You can make somebody really dang dark, but if you make it too dark, the only shadows that you can put on them are like this. And they have to be perfect black, because if you make them any lighter, then it's no longer a shadow. Look how close to the edge that is. And then it's like every other color is gonna look so light, you know? Think about your values when you're picking colors, because if you don't, it's not gonna look good, dude. You know? What if the character is shadow? Then it's a shadow. It's Vanta Black, bro. If you don't want to add shadows on it, then you don't have to add shadows on it. You know? Color shading. Hello, bro. Thank you, bro, for $2. Color shading, baby. Bro. If this thing is almost black, you can't do any shading at all. It's not going to be a shadow. If I make this shadow like a purple, it's going to look lighter. Because the shadow's all the way down here, so the color is all the way down here, so all I've got left to work with that's darker is here and below. And that doesn't really work. Like, the contrast is so low, I zoom out, it's gone. There's no contrast. There's nothing left. I don't have any wiggle room anymore. It's like, again, you don't have to make them much lighter. Like, you can really easily just a smidge. You can go even a little more. It doesn't have to be crazy. Just a little more. And they still look like a dark gray black. They're almost there. And I've automatically given myself more wiggle room. I want to do a colored shadow. There we go. And the contrast is much heavier and much nicer, right? Automatically looks a lot better. Oh, hi, Snarver. Thank you for the 2. So guilty of doing this. It's the easiest thing in the world. You color pick. If they're too close to the bottom, you're too dark. I would say, like, if you take this scale going on here, right? Like, there's a lot of things going on down here. If you are, like, right here, that person is essentially the night sky. This character is the night sky, okay? Like, that's not a skin tone. Like, you can't, you know? In traditional art, how can we avoid using straight black? Use blue or brown. Depends on what undertone you want. Okay. And even then, if you want to use straight, like, yeah, use blue or brown, alright? You have to create your own value scale for yourself, right? Because generally, when you are working with any artwork, doesn't matter if it's traditional or digital, you kind of want to work like here-ish, right? You don't really want perfect white, you don't really want perfect black, you kind of want to work here-ish. You want it to be like a nice long range. You can work with perfect white and perfect black. Generally, you don't want to, but you want a really nice big range of values going on in there. But once you set what your darkest value is, if you go any darker, you probably shouldn't. So if you want to make something look black in a scene, don't use black, but then don't go any darker than it. Or try not to. You know. Alright. So close to our goal. What do you mean goal? What goal? This? Oh, super chats. I see. I was like, what do you mean goal? Like, is there a sub goal? I didn't see that. Oh, thank you, fellow Jess, for the $2. Iggy teaching me about adding line weight in class is really useful. Makes my art pop out more. Oh, you've never done line weight? Oh yeah, you've never done line weight before. Sorry, I had to reread the username. Yeah, line weight's everything. All right. What else in this one? There's nothing too significant about this. It's like you got the legs generally right. I think, I don't know. You can get weirder with the body. This kind of just feels like a dude. Maybe you want that. Just does feel like a dude. I don't know. But alright. Claps for Acidic Angel, everybody. Thank you for submitting. Thank you for sharing your work with us. Thank you for putting yourself on the chopping block in front of everybody. We appreciate you. Thank you for being brave. And that is the end of the roast, everybody. Thank you to everybody who submitted, just in general. Thank you to the people who shared their work on the stream. Thank you for the people who were kind enough to allow me to take a look at their work. Again, I mentioned it earlier. If you were featured on the stream, feel free to reach out to one of admin or to me, and we will provide you with your working file so you can take a look at it. Yes, the working file. So there will be layers as well. So that will be yours. You can download it, keep it, do whatever you want with it. Because some of these have red lines or extra little things on top of them that you can take and you can reference on your own time if you'd like. But yes. Thank you all so much for joining me today. If you're new here, you're kind of popping in for the first time, you don't really know too much about us, hey, wingcanvas.com. Check out the classes that we offer, wingcanvas.com. I am one of the instructors. I'm not usually mean. At least I don't think so. I've got a couple of my students in chat. I don't think I'm mean. maybe a little, what do you call it? Maybe a little snarky. I don't think I'm mean, though. These files, you won't have access to them, but normally in the Discord, we would upload the JPEGs for all the streams. This time I will not be uploading these. But if you would like to, you know, see the JPEGs from other streams or from other lessons that we have done, check out the Discord, check out our social media. And if you want working files, you have to join our Patreon. Not this time, though. This time you can just ask for it, because it's your work, it's not mine. So, you can ask for your working file. But other streams where we create illustrations, check out the working files if you become a member for us. Support us over on Patreon. I believe we're releasing a couple more tiers, but they will not be on Patreon. They will be on a different platform, if I remember correctly. But, yeah. Fantastic and epic. It is a Friday, so tomorrow you got me again, apparently. You've got me. We're going to be drawing a fantasy forest together. So that'll be cool. That'll be epic. Yeah, check out Patreon to get info on the tiers, but they're not actually on Patreon. So you can go and check out Patreon to get info on the tiers that will be on a different website. But yes, I will be here tomorrow. We'll be talking about Fantasy Forest. On Sunday? Who do you have Sunday? Who's on Sunday? Sunday, you guys have Josh. You're gonna have Josh on Sunday. He'll be teaching y'all how to do character turnarounds, cool and epic. We'll be talking to you about how to refine character design, which is pretty sick. Yes, so you will have Josh with you on Sunday, cool and epic. But alright, thank you all so much for joining me today. And I'll see y'all next week. Or see you tomorrow. Pardon me. See you tomorrow. Au revoir. Bye-bye.